Welcome in everybody to episode number 8 of On Isles Time. Brendan Yerkes, Cole Healy. Here is it's hockey season. Rookie camp has started for the New York Islanders. Practice is underway at Northwell Health Ice Center. We're fired up, lots to look forward to, but after a long summer of just talking and speculation, we're finally here. At least mostly here. Not real games yet, but we'll take it.
Yes, there's hockey going on. There's new material to talk about. Things are happening, and it's finally. It took long enough.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear us talk about the same happy things anymore. I mean, listen, it's great. It's vibes are good as we've said, but it's finally time to get into the meat and potatoes of the season, and you know, the things will start to change a little bit on our discussions. But before we get started, make sure to follow us on our social medias on Instagram and X at On Isles Time, ONISLESTIME. Follow me at Brendan_Yerkes. That's BRENDAN_YERKES. And Cole at Cole Healy06, COLEHEALY06. All right. So we got a couple things that we want to discuss today. We're going to talk about the On the Island documentary that the Islanders released. They announced it last week, came out this past Wednesday. So that was really awesome. It's completely, again, which we've mentioned a million times, a difference to what we saw with Lou Lamoriello in charge is now we're getting a in-depth documentary thing. I know a lot of teams do stuff like this, especially, I mean, the New York Jets do a lot of this. Obviously, that's the NFL. I think a lot more football teams do this kind of thing compared to hockey teams, where some of them do it here, but that's where I've seen it the most. So there was that. We'll break that down. Um, we'll break down rookie camp, what we've heard so far in the first 2 days of that, and just some other random news and things we've heard from around the team, around the league, stuff like that. But let's go. Let's get into it. The documentary. I mean, wow.
Yeah, there was just again, yeah, like you said, and we've mentioned it a million times already. It's such a change, but it's just so cool to see because it's like we haven't had this stuff really ever. Like everyone will say, "Oh, 7 years since since before Lou." We were not getting this type of stuff before Lou, and like I feel like it just really wasn't a thing that teams, like there are a couple teams that did something similar, but you never got this in-depth look at what's going on behind the scenes. And now, like yeah, like you said, it's just amazing. Wow is a great way to sum it up.
Right, and it's just a different time then too. I mean, like the technology was different. I mean, it's still obviously very advanced, like 2018, but social media is bigger than ever, and the teams what they're able to produce. It's just things were starting to turn in that direction, and they always talked about when we have the state of the art arena, we're going to be able to do things. The practice facility, you look back and what everything was planned around this new building. They kind of couldn't use it to its full potential under Lou Lamoriello with his ways. So now, I mean, they said the fan experience will be different. I don't know how. I mean, the games itself were fine, I think, but maybe there'll be other more interactive things at the arena too. I mean, we'll see. They'll obviously have the open practices, but that's a different situation. So that's something to keep in mind as different time with the documentary. But not only was it awesome to see things, it was just so well done by the organization, just the media team, the social team. Props to them. Just for the production value of it and the interviews, and it was all so perfect. But to actually break it down, the start was hiring Matthew Darsh, which now feels like a memory, just because it feels like it was a while ago. It's been a long summer that he's here. They talked about his goal, doing everything for the organization, not to make him look good or do whatever. But he had some pretty good quotes about that, and it was like cool to see like these like little interactions. Like they posted the video of Darsh shaking Anders Lee's hand and meeting Butch Goring, but you don't see it was the video of the handshake. Here you got like a little behind the scenes look of like that interaction, like Butch saying, we want you to bring another Stanley Cup here. He's like, oh, that's the goal, like that's awesome. Like see these little things.
Right? Yeah, yeah. They are, just small parts of the conversations, right? But we never saw these conversations. Like you just kind of had to assume they happened. Um, And yeah, like you get to see, like inside that whatever that room was where he met Bush, he met Lee. Um, and then yeah, like I know wait, like a week or so after he was hired, maybe even just a couple of days when he was calling all the season ticket holders, right? Like they posted the video of him and like you see all these back offices that you'd never see. Um, yeah, it's just gonna be really cool to see how this develops over the year, see what they do with future episodes. But yeah, I mean, just with this, even the first, I guess, what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you're already just amazed at what you're seeing. It's just so cool to get this behind the scenes look.
Right, and actions speak louder than words, obviously. Like the team on the ice is the most important thing, but just yeah, on the business perspective, these things help too to just bring people in, give them more access. It helps your image around the league because we've discussed how, for whatever reason, people don't like the Islanders. Like random fans on social media, they think the fans are obnoxious and they yell too much. I mean, that goes back to the Tavares thing, which they don't understand the full story, so that's a different issue. But like people were like, people don't want to play for the Islanders and deal with the rules. Like you get to see inside the organization and just now how they're getting along with fans and just how these players are, their personalities, which we said a few times, and especially with like Schaefer leading the charge, which we'll get to more later about the media and stuff. They're saying like, oh, it's the new era for the Islanders, but I saw today like the new era is Matthew Schaefer. Like that's like the forefront of it. So him being featured in it a lot was awesome. Obviously showing the lottery and kind of the reaction to that and leading up to Schaefer, but just the draft interviews too. Like that's something I feel like you don't see ever, like from anywhere. Not even the Islanders. Just like those draft room interviews where there's just the table. There's this Trent Klatt is the head scout, head of scouting for the Islanders, which we've always seen him on the draft table. But getting to know him a little bit, I think that was really the best part of the whole thing. You get to see his process, see what's going through his mind, how the draft actually operates. Those interviews where it's the two of them with the prospect and all the scouts like surrounding. It's intimidating, but just really cool to see how that plays out. And you could see why they fell in love with Matthew Schaefer and, why they were interested in some of the other players they drafted too.
Yeah, like you always hear about the questions that are asked during a draft interview. I'm sure there were some other questions, like you're obviously not seeing the entire interview with every player. So I'm sure, like I know Montreal's known for asking some crazy questions. Um, but you always just hear about it. Like you never get to see what that room's like. You never get to like be there. Like I know they had one angle with when they were showing the Schaefer interview. The camera's like behind him. You just see like he's in this chair. Then you just see all these people just sitting around, all staring at him. It's probably what, like 8 or 9 people, at least, probably more honestly. And yeah, like, you got to see kind of how these guys are just in a professional setting. Like it's you get to see their personality and like the social media content, but that's still, I guess, in their hockey mindset. Like obviously this is still hockey stuff, but it's more of a like a formal, very professional setting, and it's just cool to see that. Cool to see how they react to all these different questions. The pressure. You're 18 years old trying to make an impression on an NHL team. That's pressure. And yeah, it's just you never really got to see that. So I think they did a really good job kind of setting the scene for that and then kind of transitioning from that into draft day.
And that was an awesome part too, seeing inside the room, what they were doing in there, how it was set up, and Klatt being involved in all the decisions, and Dortch letting the scouts do the work. I saw something on Twitter actually, like Dortch is the GM, so he really has the final say, but he's trusting the people around him and what they've been doing. And there was a previous draft where years ago where player the Islanders probably would want to have now, they didn't pick because force of hand. So, it's cool to see that. And all the scouts have something to say. Like Klatt saying, Keishon Aitchison, he's never seen a player hit that hard in 17 years of scouting. And saying that they had Eklund and Aitchison ranked in their top 12. They get them at 16 and 17. They had, it seems like, some trades on the table to, move those picks, maybe acquire more assets, maybe get a player. We'll never know. We'll never know what the mindset was and what was on the table for 16 and 17, but Darch was working the phones, and that was a possibility for that movement. They said if these two guys are here, we're taking them, and Klatt said he'll do his cartwheels out the room if they got those two guys, and that just shows how passionate they were for those two players, and to get them is immaculate. But just hearing about his stories, you don't always get the first pick, his reactions to getting it, and it's you got to be prepared for it. But they also haven't had first round picks in a few years, so it's like they're still doing their job, but haven't really gotten to see the benefits of it. But all the different scouts, hearing from them, seeing these guys who you don't even really know who they are, and then seeing like a former Islander like Eric Bolton, obviously Matt Martin was in the room. So, Patrick Waugh had like a sentence in there talking to Darsh, we're gonna pick this guy,
Yeah.
So it's cool to see all the moving parts of how that worked. But the craziest thing though was the James Hagan saga. I mean, that was seeing that unfold. Yeah, I'm shocked they released that part of it.
It's just, obviously you hear so much. It's all like the Shagans movement, it was the fan movement, bring Hagans home, right? Then you assume that somehow that'll get back to management, right? And then I know there's the report, I don't know if it's the day after or a couple days after the draft, where they were saying that Matthew Darsh tried trading up to get that pick to take Hagans. But just to see it like in action, you see him on the phone with Boston, um, just sitting there holding the phone, just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then, you could tell he wanted to get the trade done, right? He just says, yeah, they're making the pick. Shows the reaction to them saying, like, you can hear Adam Sandler calling out the Hagen's pick in the background. And then as soon as that happens, Darsh goes, yep, I guess we're picking at 16. And it's just, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, I was not really expecting to see that.
And you
I
don't
was
see
thinking,
that anywhere. Like not
maybe,
even just the Islanders again. Like that's not stuff that gets released often. Like when you see those things, like it's fascinating, really.
yeah, like, you think maybe, oh, maybe it'll be like an indirect reference, but no, like they made it very clear by having the pick in the background when Hagens was the audio from when Hagens was picked. And then once he was gone, that was it. They were keeping the picks.
Just a
And
little
it's
bit of
just
soft tampering, right? I mean, they're just
yeah,
setting
yeah,
it
yeah.
up for the future. They're making it clear that the player that wanted to come, they want the player. So,
Absolutely.
again, it was too bad that he couldn't go at one. Like everything worked out for us in the end, but like we'll see. I mean, I'm happy that we could kind of after now this put it to bed for a little bit because
Definitely.
discussing it is just gotten out of control at this point, the Higgins thing. But it was fun. Well, it lasted. It was a fun idea, and hopefully one day he's an Islander. But um, we'll see how he does in Boston. I think it's going to go well for him there. So,
He'll
which
he'll
would be
he'll
nice to
slide right
see.
in.
All right, so then I guess we'll close the documentary on the Schaefer stuff because I think that was basically the whole second half of it, rookie camp and such, and a little focus on the players they just drafted. I mean, with some others involved, like keeping like Richie involved, and big emphasis on Prokhorov. They seem to love that kid just based on the interviews. He said like they basically said in the interview right that they were taking him like if he like it was there. Kind of that's kind of what I took away from it.
Yeah, yeah, they really liked him. And then that kind of, you understand that Prokhorov quote after like that next week after the draft, where he was saying how the Rangers wanted him, and he told them, no, you're not going to get me because the Islanders are taking me right before you.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
that's where,
that's what I thought
he,
of too. Like you see that interview, they're like, "Oh, we want you." Like they were all in on his potential. They said they were in on the high character guys, which they seemingly got a lot of. Like they put some emphasis on Luca Romano too, Tomas Politin, all these guys that they got. Have the potential. Like that's what they say. Like these drafts, it's so hard because how often does one person become an NHL player? You might get half if you're lucky from a given draft, but with the guys they pick, the odds are higher. And not all of them are going to work out because it just never works that way. But it seems like there's a high possibility that they get a pretty high hit rate in this draft, and seeing that in the Schaefer interview, obviously talking about his mom and the way he conducts himself and with the scouts and in that stressful situation. I mean, moving forward, that then he gets drafted. How the team felt about it. They were all saying how people around the league were emotional about it. Darch seemed like he was tearing up in the room in the video. And then honestly the funniest part is Anders Lee and Bo Horvat call him, and then Barzell calls him like, "Yo, what's up? We're buzzing. We're gonna be buzzing on the ice,"
this is the most Matt Barzal way to start a phone call,
which
I
is
feel like.
awesome.
And it's cool that we get to see that now, right? Like you get to see
Right.
that personality out of him.
Which that we didn't know. They said that Anders Lee called him. That I think
Yeah.
we heard. They posted.
Yeah, I think
And I
that
feel
was
like they
that night.
posted that Horvat called him too. I don't know if I heard that audio or not. I don't know if they posted that.
I think Schaefer said that he spoke to
Right,
Horvat,
that's what
but
I
I
heard. He
think that
said that
was
he spoke
yeah,
to Horvat, but I don't think we heard it. But that was
yeah,
just like another, oh, hey, welcome, we're excited to have you. But Barzell, I mean, that they definitely kept that in the archives for a reason because they wanted the reaction to
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's great. And hopefully we see more of that out of Barzell this year now that there's more seems like there's more freedom among the players.
Right. That goes to the game day experience. Maybe, they get things get a little more like fun. Like maybe the goal announcements from, the PA announcer is a little more like, maybe there's some more flair to it, or they say more things, or they come out like, first star of the game is like hyping up the crowd or something. Like I don't know. I'm just like spitballing ideas. Like you don't know what it's gonna be. Like it just the vibe is gonna be different. Opening night's gonna be packed. Where last year, like seriously, last year there were seats at opening night. Like it was not packed. It was not full. And I was like, didn't even know what to think. I'm like, this is the first game, and I will say that was the night after Lindor hit his grand slam against the Phillies in the NLDS. So I think people were a little preoccupied with the Mets, at least the people that are fans of both teams, or more so Met fans that are Islander fans too. So that could have contributed, but that was like the entire season. Like not even opening night was really full. So it was not a great season for the seats, but I think just the hype around the team, the new stuff going on, and really just Schaefer being there is gonna fill that up. But that's a little off topic. The vibes around the arena are good. Schaefer and is fun. Yeah, I think that's the documentary. I think that was the first episode. It was like 25 minutes, so
Yeah.
they packed a lot in there. And then yeah, I'm curious, like you mentioned earlier, what they're gonna do with the rest of it.
Yeah. And just one more thing. I know Montreal also released something. I would have liked to see more like with the I know they talked about the Dobson trade. I would have liked to see a little more. Like I know they're obviously not going to like show the entire like negotiations going on the phone, right? But like I don't know. I watched the Montreal one before because that came out a day or two before the Islander one came out. Um, yeah, I was hoping they showed just some of the conversations that were going on there. Obviously we don't expect them to reveal too much
Yeah.
with what was being said, but yeah, I was hoping for a little more with that, but I
That would be
get
cool.
why.
I mean, I don't know if they want to talk too much about a former player because it could get bad, like,
Yeah,
because they obviously think they did well getting rid of a player. So it's probably like working that fine line and like they want to talk about people on their team, I guess. But yeah, I think that would be interesting to see. But I mean, I don't know how you really showcase it more than just saying we tried to get a contract, we couldn't, then we traded him without showing the negotiations because it's also like a longer term process that doesn't just happen.
right. Yeah,
So but yeah, it's just turning the page on Dobson and turning it into you know, three impact players hopefully because
yeah,
Emil Heineman could he's going to be playing this year. He's going to be, should be an everyday player,
yep.
which
It
I
should
think is
be.
the perfect segue to our next topic, just stuff that's been going on around the team, but new numbers, which the Lou leaving thing is taking its first effect. We were wondering if there'd be a giant big number right out the gate, like a 90s or something, which could have been from Drouin, but not the case. So if we're looking at it, the Emil Heineman, who we just spoke of, he's wearing 51. I believe the first Islander to wear 51 since Franz Nielsen. If you want to fact check me on that.
It's,
Uh,
I think Valtteri Filppula
oh
wore it
yes,
one
yes,
year.
I forgot about
Weird
Flip.
Franz. Weird Franz.
Weird fraud. Filppula was great actually that one year,
He,
so that's my mistake.
yeah,
I forgot about him because that also getting a 51 slipped into the Lou era. That was the first year of Lou, so
yeah,
he was good that year. So that's my mistake on that. But, yeah, 51. I feel like that fits. Some people don't care about numbers at all. So, it really doesn't matter that much. But the big one is that Jonathan Drouin was spotted that he's going to wear number 29 immediately after Brock Nelson leaves. Which to me, it's like, listen, he wasn't getting retired. Brock Nelson is most likely an Islanders Hall of Famer when it's all done. He's not. He was never getting his number retired. Like I think some people get a little too, sentimental with that. But I could see that it was maybe a little too soon. Maybe like let it like guy who's here for a while just left. Don't give out his number for a year. But you just sign this guy. He probably wants to wear the number. I see all the sides of it. To me, I'm like, all right, like you got to play well. Like it doesn't really bother me. I think some people are bothered by it, but Jonathan Drouin's wearing 29. That's just what it is.
Yeah, like you said, like I would have liked to see it just sit for a year or two without anyone wearing it, but I mean, he okay, he's wearing the number. It is what it is.
It is what it's like. It's
There's
not
more
like he's
people.
wearing like a Legends number, like a real retired number. It's not like, and it's just good player leaves. Like we got to move on. Like that's the thing. Everyone gets frustrated. Same old Islanders, and like how things were the same for a while. It's like, yeah, well now we give out a number. It's not the same player anymore. You all wanted them to trade Brock Nelson and said don't hang on to him. He's an asset that we need to get assets for, and not he's an expiring asset. Then now he's gone, like everyone wanted, and somebody takes his number. Like it's changed. Things move forward, and it's fine. Some other ones, D'Angelo switching his number from 4 to 77, so that's an
Love that.
anti-Lou thing, obviously. I mean, he's worn 77 everywhere else, so not
Yeah.
really shocking, but again, too high for Lou to let him wear it, so he switches to 77, opens up 4 for Isaiah George or maybe somebody else who would want it. Cal Ritchie's wearing 64. Not sure if that'll stick. I don't. It's an odd number. Don't mind it really as much as some people, but I feel like he could probably get a better one. But I think he's not really like he hasn't stuck yet. Where like he's still in rookie camp technically, so maybe a placeholder. I would think it is because we've seen him wear 71 in his 9 games with the Avs, but Maggio's wearing that now, and Schaefer wore it for Dev Camp. So again, still up in the air. He wore I think 21 in junior, but
Yeah.
obviously that's off
It's
the table with
21
Kyle
with
Palmieri
Oshawa.
still around. Um, and the last one, unless I'm missing, is Maxim Shabanov. Originally reported that he was wearing 49, which was weird to me. Goalie number. I mean, Bortuzzo wore it on
41.
D, but it's 49. So odd number. We have a 48 and a 49 now, with Schaefer having 48. Obviously, pretty weird to see a 49 in the National Hockey League, but I guess it works. Unique. He'll make it his own.
Yeah, he's like, he's noticeable out there just because of how small he is. So, yeah, I mean,
I'll say
I don't
this.
hate it.
Why don't we
He did
make
a
49 the over under on his point totals?
yeah.
I'll take
I,
49 points out of him.
I would love the over on that, even if it's just a point or two. That
I
would
think
be
that's the anticipation. That's he's setting a goal with the number.
yeah. Hope so.
So we're
He's
here for that.
it sounds like he's been great. So
Yeah, 2 days
ex-
of rookie camp. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Beards, they all have beards now. Palmieri's bearded, so he might score 30 goals this year. I don't
let's score
know.
40.
But it's weird. You see it at Matt Martin's poker thing. Everybody's got the beard. Sorokin, Anders Lee's got a little something going on.
Yeah.
Um,
Semyon Varlamov's alive.
yeah,
He has
he's
a beard.
well. Come on, we knew that. He's
He's
there.
he's been off the
Um,
grid,
he
but
was off the grid, but it's good to see him and be around the guys. Hopefully, he's doing well in his recovery. Yeah, Mayfield had a beard, but um, everybody's getting their facial hair in, so we'll see how that continues to just be a change. It's just like it's nothing, but it's just like it's gonna like look weird for like the
right.
beginning.
Yeah,
You're
it's
just
gonna
used to
take a
it the
little
other
time to
way.
get used to it.
I mean, Palmieri could probably grow a beard overnight. So, all right. So I want to also talk about Matt Barzell's quote as we're going through all the news of things going on. His injury last year. This quote scared some people. He said the other day at the media tour, again about his injury, and his quote was, "quote Injuries like this, you potentially never feel back at 100%." But mentally, I'm at a point now where it doesn't really matter. If I'm feeling great, if maybe one day I'm a little sore or whatever, it is what it is. And I got 6 more years left on my contract right now, and I'm fully committed to just doing everything I can to be the best player I can be. End quote. So I get the reaction that some people are a little, weary of that just because they're like, oh, he's like going to be injured the rest of his career. But in a way, he's right. I think most people don't say that. That like they usually just say, oh, I'm fine, I'm 100%. But like, you know, you get hurt, you're not the same anymore. It could heal, but it still happened. So unless he gets injured again or it keeps getting re-aggravated, I'm not putting anything into this and just saying it's true. Like if you feel good, then go out there and you play to the best of your ability. That's how it is. And his contract now is what 925, I think he's getting
Yeah,
paid
about
per
that.
year. So um, we both expect him to have a big year. If not, then we'll have a different discussion. But I'm not putting anything into this right now at
Yeah,
all. I think it's
it's
fine.
everyone's just reading too much into it. Like, yeah, he's what, 28 now? Like,
Still young.
still young, but he's been playing his rookie year. Um, Played a lot of games. I know he had that long Ironman streak, and then like the last couple of years, or this year, yes, the year before he only missed 2 games, and the year before that he had some injury issues, but that's really it. Um, it's hockey, right? It's a physical game. Like that type of stuff is gonna happen. This injury is just such a weird thing. He blocked that shot just right off the kneecap. Um, really don't see it like too often where you don't see that injury very often. Um, and it's unfortunate, but he's a pro. He knows what he's got to do to get back to where he's been, and I think we both have faith that he's
Yeah.
gonna.
And I think he just didn't want to say, "Oh, I'm 100% fine." He's putting a little like insight to, how he feels and what his recovery's been like. So I could respect that. All right. Moving on, Mark Gatcomb was the latest of the Islanders podcast tour, which is a pretty surprising one. He was on a Morning Cup of Hockey with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohen. And, Johnny being a Long Island hockey guy, obviously a Rangers guy, but, the Long Island hockey scene, he's kind of plugged in to things and knowing people around. It's cool to see Mark on there. He was at the Rookie Showcase tour with Schaefer last week. We didn't mention that, but just like pictures and stuff. But Mark, he's an easy guy to root for. Just talking about his story coming up and just like college hockey and just his experiences and you know how it was for him scoring 2 goals in the Ovechkin game. So it's really the Mark
Gatcomb
Gatcomb
game.
game, which was awesome to see. And then I saw him the next day actually when I was down in Nashville. Ran into some of the players, so that was pretty funny. Um, I think we brought that up to him actually, but yeah, like it's good to see him out there and just like listen, everybody's getting their to quote Butch Goring, everybody's getting their kick at the cat here.
Definitely, he's got the hair going,
He does have the
long
hair,
hair. He's got the beard.
but he said he had to get a
Um,
haircut when he got called up. He's scared Lou was
yeah,
gonna yell at him.
yeah, that was a good story.
And the
Missing
last
was it
thing
two or
we
three
wanted to
calls?
mention in the random Islanders news cycle is that Josh Bailey was on the ice for rookie camp with Johnny Boychuk there, which I think Boychuk's been on there before, and I feel like Bailey was too. I'm not exactly sure, but they made a post about it, so maybe that was the first time. Um, I know he was around, so
Yeah,
um,
they've had him at a bunch of games, but I don't think he's been on the ice with anyone. So yeah,
still
I
hasn't
think
officially
aside,
retired, which is interesting.
yeah, no, he hasn't put that in, and I think it was Stefan said that he's not officially part of the organization. It was just kind of a one-off thing. Maybe he'll be out a couple days during this camp, maybe during training camp as well. But it's not like an official coaching role or anything. I think he said he's coaching his kids or just some youth team.
Hmm.
And that's still what he's doing full time.
Well,
But
maybe
yeah,
that's
it's
why
just
they
good to
didn't
see.
mention Boychuk being there because I think he does have a role somewhere in the organization.
Yeah,
So maybe like everyone's
I
like,
believe
oh,
so.
like he's standing next to Boychuk, no mention of that, but maybe it's like he's a part of the team, so it's like they're not going to post like whatever coach is on the ice with the team because they're like an employee, but Bailey was like a guest, like so maybe that's where that came from.
Yeah,
All right, rookie camp. Let's talk about rookie camp. Lots of things going on. Schaefer skating like the wind is what everybody's saying. I think Maggio said that. They're all talking about how he looks like the best guy out there, as he should, much better. So that's something we want to see because you're always concerned if things don't go well, but he's looking the part so far. Saying all the right things as we've been saying all summer. And I think people were also more curious to see how Shabanov looked. They're saying he's fast. He scored a couple goals in whatever drills. He looks quick, good hands. So the things you want to see are there. They had an interview with him today in translated by Gleb Veremyev. So he said he's strong. They asked him if he's like can handle the physicality of the NHL, obviously being a smaller guy, and he said I am big, strong, or something. So you know, I
good to
I, I
see.
hope it works out because he has all the skill in the world. So I'm a believer here.
Definitely, yeah. And it's kind of like Siplikov last year at rookie camp. Like he was like one of the best guys out there. Just obviously a little different. Siplikov's significantly bigger than Shabanov, but same thing. A KHL guy, older than most of the guys there. Yeah, I mean you want to see that out of Shabanov, especially because there's a lot of guys that are bigger than him. Um, so yeah, just all positive things coming out of there about both him and Schaefer.
And I know there was some things surrounding Cal Ritchie too. Kind of he got asked about the Brock Nelson trade. I think that was the first time somebody's asked him about it, and he said, it's big shoes to fill. He was here for a long time, scored a lot of goals, so said he can do the best he can. I mean, that's all you can do. I'm not looking at it as like an even one for one comparison. It's a different situation. Obviously, they were traded for each other, so he kind of is filling the void, but you can't expect him to immediately fill the void. They'll always be linked depending on what Brock Nelson does, but I think regardless, like we got a first and a young prospect for it. So, and they're a team, the Avs, in a different situation where they need the prominent goal scorer. So, Richie, liking what I'm seeing from him, good two-way game. He bulked up. I think he said he added 15 pounds from the start of last year. So that's what you want to see, and we'll hopefully get that from Schaefer too eventually.
Definitely. Yeah. Hopefully just this is a start, just rookie camp, just being in the gym. And then, these guys will be at training camp as well. So they'll be working out with all the big guys, all the regulars. And then, with Richie, whether he starts in Bridgeport or if he's on the team, like he's just gonna well, yeah, we've talked about it in the past. He's gonna have that experience next to these guys that are in the NHL every day. Um, just kind of give him an idea of what it takes. And then yeah, who knows, maybe he puts on even more weight. And then yeah, Schaefer, you obviously are expecting that. Just because I think we're both expecting him just make the team off the bat.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to add from rookie camp, and then if you have anything else, you could throw it in here. But Matt Maggio, who I mentioned already, he's getting a lot of emphasis in this camp. I think Stefan has been saying he's like kind of being the leader of it. Like he's one of the older guys there who's been through it a couple times. At least this one in the beginning of the year. So he's kind of taking the forefront. He's just been a lot of quotes from him about Schaefer, how good he looks out there, and his skating, and you could see the skill. And maybe they're trying to give him a shot here. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's really any room for him in the on the NHL team, but he still is fairly young, so he has a chance to go down in this revamped Bridgeport team with Rocky Thompson and be better, figure it out, because he's shown some flashes down there, but we haven't seen it all put together. So you think maybe with the better coaching staff, he can maybe have a shot, but he's kind of taking on the leadership role here.
Yeah, I know day one he was leading stretches at the end of practice. Um, I watched Rocky Thompson's, his availability today. He was saying day one it was just kind of he asked who's gonna run it, and Maggio went up in the middle. He did it again today, day two, and that was just they have the first star of the day, and today that happened to be him again, so he was doing it again. But and yeah, I know they're talking to Schaefer about Maggio because I believe you said they have a mutual friend, and then that's they already knew each other a little bit, and then they've gotten closer since development camp back in July. And yeah, he's just he's kind of showing him the ways. I believe this is his third rookie camp, Maggio.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, so
drafted what, 22, I think. So
yeah,
yeah,
and then I think he just went back to where's he playing? He was playing for Windsor, I believe, in
yes,
the OHL. So I think that for like right after he got drafted, I don't think he was at rookie camp. And then every year since then, he's been around. So he's done it before. He's been through it. So yeah, it's just good to see. It's positive things to hear about him. Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see him get a shot at some point. Um, you hope that there's not a lot of injuries that happen that would force him up. You gotta hope it's just if he starts lighting it up in the AHL, and then he forces Matthew Darsh's hand to call him up. But yeah, I think maybe not this year, maybe the year after. I don't know, but I'm uh, I'm a big fan of Matt Maggio, so I'd like to see him get a shot at some point in the next couple of years.
and he's a smaller guy. I've interviewed him a few times for my work with the Hockey News, like both in person and over the phone, and just seeing his game. Like and what I've heard from there too is just that, like, the last coach just they didn't get along really. Like they said, Maggio is I mean, from all the stories and the things we see and hear, he's a great guy, and he's super happy, like go lucky guy, like outgoing, and just that, like, his joy for the game just didn't seem to be there last year. Just because he was getting put on the fourth line, he's getting scratched. Like for a guy like that, trying to like build up, that's not what you really want to see. Like I get the struggles and there's consequences, but that seems like just mismanagement. But I think he's going to get a real shot this year to develop. And when he's had a couple of hot streaks in Bridgeport, I think his scoring has come in waves. So I think it's putting that together, with a better coach and better players around him. that could be more consistent. So we'll see that. And for the Sound Tiger Saturdays, which they put the
Yes.
logo on the ice with the Bridgeport Islanders logo for their 25th anniversary. Could be their 25th and final year. We'll see. Um, but yeah, you got anything else from rookie camp?
That's about it. I just want to add Luke Rowe, 27 years old at rookie camp. Um, Went to Air Force Academy. He was the captain of that team. Played this past season with the Ontario Reign. They posted that video about all the just everyone saying their name and a fun fact, and he was saying he's in the military. Um, and then they posted his media stuff today. So they said his serve has been pushed back till after his hockey career is over. But yeah, it's just I don't remember hearing anything about him. I don't remember hearing Bridgeport signing him. I don't know if they made an official announcement about that. Or maybe it's just like a tryout, whatever the case is. Uh, it's just cool to see that. Cool to see an older guy just get a shot. He's still going for it. Just a cool little tidbit from this camp.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I think it's only been 2 days too, so not really too much has happened. I think that's all the big stuff. Everything going on in Islanders land, just whatever news. But it'll start to pick up. We're gonna get real training camp, I think, underway next week. Then preseason games, we're gonna have to analyze. For guys like Shabanov, see how Barzell looks. There's gonna be things to look at. Preseason is worth watching to see just the health of some of these guys and just like Schaefer and whatever prospects are around, see how they play. So, you know, exciting camp and preseason this year, more so than in years past. But I think that's going to do it for On Isles Time. My name is Brendan Yerkes for Cole Healy. Make sure to follow us on social media at Brendan_Yerkes, BRENDAN_YERKES. Cole at COLEHEALY 06, so Cole Healy 06. And then follow all of our On Isles Time socials at On Isles Time. This was On Isles Time, episode number 8. It's almost hockey season, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in.